All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom.
Here.
Ms. Lehman.
Here.
Ms. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Nally.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here. Can I get a motion to approve our minutes from a regular meeting held May 28th, 2024, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nally. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Nally.
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom.
Yes.
Ms. Lehman.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved. Moving on to legislative report.
Just a couple of quick things. One, since we've kind of bought into the financially into the Fair School funding plan, just wanted to mention that we're in coming up on years 3 and 4 of the plan, and the Fair School Funding organization is out there pushing real hard with the legislators to make sure that they are keeping in mind years 5 and 6 so that the full thrust of the plan gets put into place. Also wanted to mention, and this is a tough one because our local representative is supporting is with the religious instruction being allowed. I guess it's gone into like a second reading, and he's really pushing hard for the change to the policy being from may to shall. And, and I guess my comment is it's just another removal of local control on our part. We're involved in it right now, and it's moving along, but with other districts and others, are not going to be able to make that same decision. The other thing, there's a wild, I guess I call it a wild range list of different proposals that legislators throughout the state are making right now. And again, many of them taking away from the local control. And in particular, the one that kind of jumped out at me is being proposed is that would create criminal liability for certain teachers and librarians for the offense of pandering and obscenity, depending on what books, what materials are provided. And, I just think it's a tremendous overstep. And, I'm just pleased that, we're still maintaining, like in the high school, the hardbound books in our library. And I don't think that any of those are overstepping what we should be sharing with our students. And I think that's all I wanted to mention in regards to the legislative report tonight.
Thank you. On items, we just have one.
Yes, sir. Add to a resignation list, item 5, Alicia Nye has found a position at Bowling Green, right?
University,
As a student advocate, probably helping students with grades and much that she did here. So we wish her well. So we're going to add Alicia Nye to item 5 since it's already on there. So, and that will be reflected in our minutes. So thank you.
Moving on to the community section, hearing of the public. I don't believe we have anybody here from the public that wants to address the board, so we can move on to superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Price. I'd like to actually turn this over to Mrs. Hurd, our next superintendent. as she has begun to shape her team for the future and how exciting it is for all of us. So Denise, if you would please, you introduce your guests to us.
I certainly will. Thank you. Good evening, President and board members. I am very excited to bring two gentlemen here before you this evening. I'm pleased to recommend the hiring of James Boss as the new Student Services Director. Upon your approval this evening, Jim will join us from Benton Carroll Salem Local Schools, where he has spent the past 9 years as a Director of Student Services and an additional 5 years as a school psychologist. Jim impressed our interview committee with his enthusiasm to take on a challenge and his desire to successfully lead our students. This evening, we are also recommending Ryan Norris for approval as the new principal at Ross High School. Ryan brings with him 11 years of experience as an assistant principal from Clyde High School, and as a resident of Fremont, he is ready and eager to step into his new role at Ross High School. Included at your seats this evening are application packets for both of these very strong candidates that I bring before you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Denise. Appreciate that. All right. As far as my report is not a lot tonight. I just wanted to give a first draft report. We had our first meal pass out this morning. Over 500 meals passed out today. And I think with any project that goes that well, there were some logistical issues. Flow was an issue. We had apparently cars backed up to Kroger's as they lined up from the high school past the middle school out on the Cedar Street and down about 3 blocks. Yeah. So we're on it, aren't we, Mr. Amway? We're on it. We're gonna tackle that problem. But I think it just shows you what a powerful program that is, and what a necessary program it is for our community. I think there's just a lot of people with inflation and what it takes to just feed a family just can really appreciate the relief that this program is offering. As a matter of fact, it was big enough that Channel 11 showed up this afternoon. Actually, they showed up this morning, take some pictures. And then they came this afternoon and interviewed Denise and I just on what we thought of the program and how successful it was and what it means to our community. So if you're up at 11 o'clock tonight, or if you want to maybe check it online tomorrow, we should have a nice story about our program. And he said that we were the only district in the area doing that. And I find that a little hard to believe, but maybe it's true that we're the only ones that have kind of taken that on. It wasn't a mandatory thing. It's something that we thought our community could use and need, and you can see the response was tremendous. So
I was just going to ask you, when you said Channel 11 was here,
yeah,
there isn't another district around, but I guess not. So
I guess not. And
surprising.
He actually had a contact through No Child Hungry. Did I get that right? No Child Hungry. I'm trying to think. I don't want to mess that up. And he confirmed that with them, that we were the only district in the area doing this. So I think kudos to our staff, and it's work. I mean, we don't have to do that, but it's work. It's paperwork. There's files. There's accounting. I mean, it's a thing. It's a lot of work. And commit to doing that all summer. I think it just shows the character of our staff and what they believe our community needs and so forth. So just want to share that really good news tonight about that. So that's really all I've got new. I did have my party last week. Thank you for all you made it. I had a great turnout from the community for my retirement party, and I appreciate all the kindness has been and expressions of goodwill that I've gotten over the last few weeks. As a matter of fact, so much so that I'm rescinding my resignation. No, I'm just kidding. Staying. No, I'm not staying.
Sure, it wasn't that everybody was happy that you were
well, Tom, thank you. Appreciate that. Always looking at the positive. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Way, so.
I appreciate that. Bring me right back down. That's right. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And just another side comment, too. I'm just really excited about Denise and these two young men and what they represent for her and her future here and the powerful team that she'll have ready to take over and take this place to some great heights. Very excited for her and for both gentlemen. Gentlemen, thank you. We're really, really glad to have you. All right. I'll proceed if everybody's okay.
Sure.
All right. Let's go on with our action tonight. Item 1, we have some donations. Associated Buyers, some rubbing alcohol, Fireland Pioneer Power, $25 towards our food service fund. Candace Fote, books valued $300 for Krogan Elementary School. Schmidt's Gardens for ferns. and the VFW post for flags. Now, they don't list that, but those flags are valuable, and they do a lot for us there from the VFW post. And if you went to any event this spring, you saw some ferns and flowers at graduation and all the events at the PAC. All those beautiful plants were donated by Schmidt's Garden. So they do a tremendous job for us every year. So with your permission, we'll accept those donations.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve item 1, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lehman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much. Item 2, with your approval, we'll accept the contract with PT Services for summer interventions, June, July, and August for occupational therapy and speech services.
Can I have a motion to approve item 2, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nally. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion?
Are these continued services for like students who are already?
Correct. This would be
Enroll in
summer
these
services,
services.
summer intervention. I'm speaking right, Abby, right? Yeah, I'm getting the nod from the audience there. Yes, this is a continuation of whatever's in their IEP. Some of those students in their plan have summer interventions of different kinds. So this OT and PT would be a part of that.
Perfect.
Roll call, please.
Oops, sorry. Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
All right, thank you very much. Item 3, it's time for us to kind of re-up with North Central Ohio ESC. That's the service center that we use for so much of our support services and bus aids and all kinds of services that we get from them. So it's a good partnership we have with them. They do a good job, allows us a lot of flexibility in hiring. Just a tremendous service, and we appreciate them very much. And with your approval, we'll continue the association.
Can I get a motion to approve item 3, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lehman. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lewis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much. Item 4 is for our content filter. All of our systems, all the computers that students have access to and staff have to go through a web content filter. So with your approval, we will have Lightspeed Filter as our services for this next year.
Can I have a motion to approve item 4, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nally. Any discussion?
Could you give a little bit more of an explanation?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Don. Thank you. And I'm sure a lot of people may not know what that is, but since we have minors in our here at school, it basically it controls websites. Like we can put on types of websites that are not acceptable. I know Andrew back there probably cringing at my explanation, but it basically keeps our students and our staff off of sites that aren't appropriate, and it gives us some control on what kind of domains are available to our kids and to our staff. So it's that service.
It's good for us to know, but I think also very good
Absolutely.
for the public.
Absolutely.
That are
That
watching.
it's not the wild, wild west when the kids get on our devices.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, there's some control.
And is this? Yeah, I feel like a broken record.
Yeah.
Over, but is this a new service?
Oh no, this is something we've done all the time.
I know. I know.
A
we've
new
done
company?
That, but is this a new company?
Ooh,
guess.
I don't know.
We just finished 1 year with this company.
Okay.
And this we're renewing for a 3-year contract now.
There we go.
All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yeah.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much. All right, moving into our staff motions. Item 5 is, remember, we did add a walk-on to this. So we have Jared King, who's served us faithfully as a head baseball coach for 6 years, is resigning, and Alicia Nye is also resigning. Item 6, we have a quick resignation for Kelly Scriver. She just got hired last board meeting. She's not available to drive as she thought, so she's needs to resign her summer intervention bus driving position. Item 7 is our gentleman here this evening, James Boss, Director of Student Services, and Ryan Norris, High School Principal. Going on to item 8, Clara Burwell, she will be a custodian at Ross High School. And there's a few staff substitutes with Clara, Georgette, Isaiah, Dennis, Sophia, and Stacy. Item 9, this are some teaching positions and some staff positions around the district. We have Emily Depinet, intervention specialist, Stephanie Hastings as a Ross math teacher. I'm sorry, Emily will be at Ross as well. Michelle Hamilton will be Krogan as an intervention specialist, and Holly Vancina will be a speech language pathologist. Also, just for the board's information, unfortunately, those salary numbers represent last year's contract. I apologize. We will get those corrected in the minutes. They're very close, but those numbers are a little off. So just so you know that. Also, today we have all those asterisks that indicate maybe some paperwork that's not done. Those will also be taken off because everything we needed was in today. So just so you know, our minutes will reflect the adjusted number and the fact that all the paperwork is finished. So thank you. The next appointment, top of page 6, Anna Drown. She will be a cook for us at the middle school. Item 10, we missed one. It was actually a late mid-year hire, so Mackenzie Fry was not on that giant list that we had last time for the limited contract. Thank you. Item 11, Vanessa Moya and Bridget Smith for their extended days. That's for the 24-25 school year. Item 12, Megan Ray will be our varsity assistant golf coach for girls. Item 13, at the top of the next page, that list includes a lot of fall assistants and also one winter head basketball coach for your approval. Item 14, student teacher mentors, and that's all different amounts based on the university and also whether it's methods or student teaching, whatever. But those teachers helped host student teachers this year and are ready for a little bit of money back from that. So those are our personnel items for this evening.
Can I get a motion to approve items 5 through 14, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nally. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lehman. Any discussion?
I do. The girl that was added on, what her last name was it Nye?
The walk-on was Alicia Nye. Yes, ma'am.
Is that the girl that was going to do the program for football with the?
Yes.
Okay.
She did do the program.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and then, so apparently then she's not going to be doing it. No?
Well, you can almost tell that's where her heart is. I think she really enjoys that aspect of her job here,
Okay.
and found a way to take it to the next level at college. So we were very excited for her. So I think really
Okay.
what she's done is achieve a goal of hers, which was to become like an academic coach for sports full time.
Okay. So then, since she's not here anymore, you think football will?
We're still working on it.
Sports,
Yeah.
I guess, in
Denise and I
general.
keep chewing on that. We've got
Okay.
some ideas on how to kind of get that program happen. So just so the board knows, it's not off the radar. We're still working on trying to make that workable for everyone. And Alicia was such a special person that it almost was hard to build a program or not even a thing around her because she was so dedicated to that as a mission really for herself. So we're going to try to find a way to make it happen. Yeah,
Okay. Just wondering.
absolutely. No, you're right on.
Just a number of comments regarding some of these, but I'll pare it down.
Yes, sir.
With regrets for Jared King. He's been very committed to the program.
Absolutely.
Follows a legacy with family. So that's with regrets and with great pleasure. Just want to welcome the two gentlemen, Mr. Boss and Mr. Norris. I think all I can say is you're coming into a great system, and we look forward to working with you guys and getting to know you and seeing how you fit into Denise's mindset. That's all I had.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Item 13, and it's kind of a general
Uh-huh.
question. When we have, is there a time period or a time frame where, like, okay, everybody who wants to renew or be a fall sports coach, you have to do X, Y, and Z by this window? And then same thing for winter sports.
Absolutely.
And
Yep. That's why we try to get our head coaches on early enough so that then they can make recommendations for all the assistants. Yes.
okay.
So,
And that is, and most of our coaching staff is internal as far as our head coach positions. They are mostly teachers and people who are.
I'm not sure. I'd say mostly. I don't know if we can get a nod from Mr. Burnt. Probably not, right? Is it 30% even? Yeah. Yeah.
So that I guess how do people know? Like if somebody was interested
In coaching.
in coaching.
Yeah, they're posted on the website.
Just like a teacher position.
Yeah.
I mean, we get the emails. So like with
Mhm.
Jared resign, I mean, so it's out there for everybody
Okay.
to,
Yeah.
I think, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
seems like word gets around pretty quick.
Just kind of in general. Nothing specific in mind. But
Chad, would you mind coming to the microphone? And maybe I think it'd be good for all of us. Thank
Sorry.
you. No, it's okay. It's all right. Good stuff. Absolutely.
So for the hiring practices, what we typically do is after the evaluation period, which happens as soon as their season has concluded, I meet with the coaches, go over their evaluation, and try to get a determination as to whether or not they're planning on coming.
okay.
So that happens within 2 weeks after the close of their season.
Awesome.
And then what we do is some of them have lapsing credentials that we work to get. So as soon as I have all of our coaches, I try to get them board approved. And that's why you'll see Juan is my actual last winter coach that needs to be hired. So as soon as all the head coaches are hired, what we then do is we post the positions for all of the assistants that happen for the winter season now. That goes internally. So that will be posted throughout the Fremont City Schools to see whether or not there's any internal interest in those positions, as they will be given first priority.
Perfect.
If there's not internal interest, then what we do is I've always been a firm believer that I want my coaches to surround themselves with people that they want on their team. So I don't do anything from an athletic department standpoint as promoting. I let my coaches go out, hand select who it is, or ask individuals to apply if that's somebody that they would like to see join their staff. Because I'm a firm believer that in order to be successful, I want them to surround themselves with the people that they feel most comfortable with.
Awesome.
So usually what happens then is they'll go out and they'll solicit, but a lot of them are returning. We don't have a lot of turnover, which I'm grateful for when it comes to our assistant coaches in a lot of our programs. So you'll start to see some of the same names year in and year out coming back, which is good for continuity and for consistency purposes. So like I said, that's usually our standard practice. But if we don't have any internal interest for both assistant coaches or head coaches, we then post it throughout a lot of like Indeeds and all of those other social networking applications to try to garner some interest in those positions. So we do promote it outside of that once we have no internal interest.
Great. I'm glad you were here.
Me too. Not as much as I am. Hey, Mr. Burnt, real quick, if someone were interested, let's say it's just a community member that's not associated with the schools, if they really want to get involved somehow, what would you suggest they do?
So usually what I would tell them to do is they can reach out to me, but I would put them right in touch with the head coach.
Sure.
Like I said, the head coach would be the one that would ultimately make the determination as to whether or not they would want them to be on staff. They would usually sit down with them, go through that. And oftentimes it may not be a paid position initially. It may be on a voluntary basis, but then they can get in, get their feet wet, make sure that it's a good fit for both them and the head coach. And that may come to a paid position in the near future. So that's kind of the standard practice as to how we've done it.
Super. Thank you, Mr. Burnt. Really appreciate it.
Real quick though, Chad, since you have the opening, are there any sports where you are in need of assistance right now or need help? Because now's the platform to put it out there for anybody that's
For sure.
maybe interested.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The only one right now for fall that we're in search of and still in need of is a girls assistant soccer coach. That's the only one that we haven't been able to fill. There hasn't been a whole lot of interest. And our newly hired girls soccer coach has kind of reached out to some of the people that he might like to have come. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work for them at this time. So that's going to be one of those things that we'll be posting here just to try to kind of see if we can find anyone in the Fremont community that may be interested. So, but that's the only one as of right now. But we'll see what winter brings.
And another thing, You don't have to come back up. Good job.
Good answer. Absolutely.
All right. Any other discussions on those items? All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
All right. We're on 15, right?
Correct.
Sure.
Okay. Got a little discombobulated. Item 15, we have a status change for Crystal Diamond with your approval from step 1, bachelor's plus 30 to step 1, effective the 24-25 school year.
Can I get a motion to approve item 15, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lehman. Any discussion?
If I may, that one also, we did the whole agenda on that other pay scale. So this one will be adjusted as well. I apologize for that.
All right. Roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
Thank you very much. Item 16, summer school appointment for Kelly Har Hale as a bus driver for our K-3 summer intervention program.
I have a motion to approve item 16, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nally. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
Thank you very much. The next group there in 17 are our title teachers who had sat through a special training. With your approval, we'd like to reimburse them.
I have a motion to approve item 17, please.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lehman. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
Thank you. Item 18, you remember the long list that we did a couple meetings ago. This is a few updates on that list. This is for the Governor's Initiative of Science of Reading. So with your approval, we'll pay these three a $400 stipend.
Can I have a motion to approve item 18, please?
Moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lewis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yeah.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
Thank you very much. Item 19, Ben Saldo would like to, he's actually been trained for a project Lead the Way. This is being paid for through a grant with your approval.
Can I have a motion to approve item 19, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
And thank you very much. Item 20 is same situation, a little more money for Michelle Borges.
Can I have a motion to approve item 20, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lehman. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nally. Any discussion?
What is the difference in?
I think it's the level of involvement. Denise, do you know offhand?
I do. It's the amount or the number of units that they will be trained in. Michelle's, she has more units that she'll be trained in. Therefore, her class will include more of those Project Lead the Way units with her students.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to report of the treasurer.
Good evening. I'm not going to talk too much. It just seems to encourage the coughing. So tonight I'm just going to move on to the items I have for approval. We've kind of just had a quick week last week working on some stuff. So for the board's approval, I have item 21, and this is just our annual fund-to-fund transfer to move money into our classrooms facility maintenance fund that we had to do when we put the bonds on for the levies for the buildings. So this is just something we have to fulfill that we promised we would do when we did those levies.
Can I get a motion to approve item 21, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Slayman. Any discussion?
If I may, just I don't mean to step
Go
in,
for it.
but it's just this is one of the best things the state's ever done. Through that process of borrowing money from the state and having them partner with us in our building projects, law demands that we put money aside for maintenance. I think early on that wasn't happening, and there was a lot of criticism because you build these brand new buildings in these communities, then they never had any money to maintain them. So this is sort of built into the process so that we have to set aside a certain amount of money to maintain our new facility. So I think it's really a commendable program. It forces us to put it in a spot that can only be used for maintaining those buildings. And it is audited, so they keep track of what we do. And sometimes a little frustrating because sometimes, we'd like to do with this or this. No, I can't do that. It has to go towards the projects that we have.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Okay. The next item I have is our property, fleet, and liability insurances for next year. We've been using the insurance quite a bit the last couple of years. Or Andrew. So that's not totally why we've seen such an increase. It's just kind of an industry standard. As I was talking with Paul Hershey as he was giving me the new estimates for this year, he said it's actually kind of difficult for schools to even get insurance. They reached out to, I want to say 8 or 10 different companies, and they got 3 that came back with offers. So, yeah, that's
What's that? Like, what's that about?
just because the overall dollar amounts of property, I don't think I have it with me. Like the school district's amount of property values that they have to insure, a lot of people don't want to go over like 100 million, I want to say. And we have more than that. So to even find carriers to give us quotes, they're struggling for school districts just because you have so many different buildings in different locations as a school district. And so there's more exposure risk. And we've seen these 3 between the high school, the natatorium, and Ross. That's a huge risk if a windstorm comes through or some sort of natural disasters, because you have 3 buildings automatically. They're right there that have high property value that they would have to take care of if something happens. They've said school districts in general, unfortunately, it's about money. They're not seeing the return on investment on these, and they're pulling out of the industry.
Is it me, or is there something real fundamentally wrong with that?
I love insurance world. If they're not making money, they're not going to get you or cover you. So,
It's
yeah.
like a jaw drop.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
If you think about it, we have so much exposure, like even that big wind we had a few years ago that whipped the bleachers all, sent it down across Fangboner Road, we just have so much, and if a storm hits in this part of town, we got a building there. If it hits a building over there, we got a building over there. If there's, it's just so much exposure. It just makes us risky. Crazy.
Like,
but you'd think the rates would reflect that, right? Right. That's the business, but they just don't carry it.
So, and just another side note, it says the reason we use the wording not to exceed in this area is we also have to insure the new stadium bleachers when they are finished. And concession stand, I think, is the other building. So we don't totally know what that dollar amount's going to be yet added to our insurance. So we put that not to exceed 250,000. Just that's like a kind of a cushion for us when we go to add those new. That's fun.
let's pretend that nothing to see here.
Okay.
Everybody.
Yep. So just to make sure when those amounts come in this summer, we'll have enough board-approved and I won't have to come back for more.
Megan, the effect you have on this room.
Wow.
Jerome.
What can I say? I bring a house
You're
down.
breaking stuff already.
I love that.
You would think that if you, as we
there you go.
upgraded the bleachers, that would be
Yeah, last.
to our advantage as far as insurance is
But
concerned.
if something happens, it's worth more, so they have to.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like I get that. But
Yeah.
like,
I know.
Tornado comes through and picks it up off the ground, then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
for sure.
Money, money, money.
yeah.
6 people fall off of it because it's old. I mean, like,
Right.
what's worse than worse, if you
Yeah.
will. All right, steps down off soapbox.
All right. Any other discussion on that item? Roll call, please.
I don't think we took.
Did we?
I don't think we had.
Did I ask
So
for a
moved.
motion on it?
I was gonna say I don't think we made any
So
motion.
moved.
All right. Motion by Mr. Nally. Sorry, I apologize.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom on item 22. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Okay. Item 23 is our agreement with Comp Management, who helps or is our TPA for our workers' compensation claims management. We've been really successful with them. We just had a small increase for them to do the services this year. And that's all paid out of our workers' comp fund.
Can I get a motion to approve item 23, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lewis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yeah.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved. All right, moving on to board member communications. Don.
Oh yeah. Couple meetings back, Mrs. Hurt had shared with me from my request of some information about the district students subject to third grade reading guarantee and our 5-year trend. And basically, what I wanted to mention on that was in the 2018-19 school year, we were had 95.5% of our students were promoted to 4th grade, and we dipped down into the 60s and 70s, and for the 22-23 school year, we were back up to 94.2%. So, I think it speaks to the job that our teachers do and, the support, that we as a community are able to give them to do that job. Also, kind of one of the neat things I thought was that the male and female ratio was almost exactly the same for this past school year, whereas during that period of COVID and that drop, the male students did not have as much success. Denise, do you have anything to add to that? Okay. Did I say it all right?
You did. You did. You're spot on.
Okay.
Yes, we're thrilled that we're moving back to. We are just shy of for that data point of looking at academic gain to where we were pre-COVID.
So another very positive thing. Looking forward to working with our new staff, and being part of the team here. I think there's a lot of good things to come in the future, and just looking forward to working with you all. And it's nice to see some of the other staff back there. Not that you guys don't make meetings, but it's nice to see us supporting the team. I saw where the honor roll was posted. I just wanted to congratulate all those students. A lot of hard work to maintain those grades and deal with all the other outside influences. The other thing, I think we have a lot of great kids in our community, and it's summertime. I saw a post, and it kind of hit home. We have to look at our kids that when they're out running the street and riding their bikes, and whether they're a minority child, depending on the color of their skin, that, we need to be looking that they're out there with good intentions to just be kids and have fun. And the post that I had read kind of brought home that, if somebody in the neighborhood is seeing kids of color going by and it bothers them that they're seeing these kids or a group of kids that just look suspicious, if they're calling into the police or getting all riled up about it. My concern is that, and I think this post was trying to say, we have to look at all the kids as out there being kids and having fun. And if we know a neighbor or somebody that gets kind of wound up about those things, we need to step forward and talk to that neighbor or just make sure that we're being a positive influence out there in the community. It really bothered me to think that just because kids of color pass by my house a couple times that their intentions are bad, and that somebody calls the cop and says to go by, and then the cops say something, and then the kids kind of left with that feeling that, man, because I'm a kid of color, the cops are coming, and so I guess my issue is we just have to look at them. One is good intentions, and then we as citizens need to make sure that we're being good neighbors and good community people and addressing that issue also. That's all I had.
Sarah?
I would, if nobody has any objection, which I'm sure you won't, like to forego my communication to maybe invite Mr. Boss and Mr. Norris to address our community. Just not to put you on the spot,
Too late.
but I think it's really important that our community cares deeply about who
Absolutely.
is running the school system. So any opportunity to just introduce yourselves to the community, I think that's appropriate.
I love it. Short straw, right? Yeah, if you would.
Just remember, it was board member Miss Lewis that called you out. So
Kurt did turn around and say, "Nah, you don't have to worry about it."
Dan,
It's all good.
sorry.
I'm happy to introduce myself, and I was so thrilled to chat with Mrs. Hurt and the team here at Fremont City after my interview last week. I live in Elmore, so I'm right down the road, and a wife of, kill me if I get it wrong.
Oh, don't do it.
Oh no.
Oh, and I'll be right.
You'll be good. Yeah, don't get it wrong.
Years.
Is it worth it?
I've got 3 young children. I've got a 14-year-old, I've got an 11-year-old, and I've got a 9-year-old. All my children currently go to Oak Harbor, and my wife's a teacher over in Oak Harbor too. So that's a little bit about me. I've been in special education my entire life. School psychology first, I know, as Mrs. Hurt mentioned, and then into an administrative role because I wanted to have a broader impact, right? I was blessed to do that for 9 years at Oak Harbor. And then we talk about having a broader impact, man, coming over here to Fremont and being able to do that here is unbelievable. So I'm just thrilled. I'm excited. I told Mrs. Hurt, I'm nervous. You know what I mean? And a good nervous. I feel like if you don't have nerves about something like this, a change like this, then it maybe isn't something you want to get into.
Sure.
So I feel very honored, very blessed to be standing here in front of you
and very excited to be joining the executive team here at Fremont City Schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Ryan Norris. Excited to be here is probably an understatement. Talking and going through the process with the administrative team and a couple teachers that were on both rounds. Very easy conversations, made me feel very comfortable, and I'm very excited. Another thing, a little background on me. This is actually, I just finished my 22nd year in education. My background also is special ed. I was an intervention specialist for 11 years at Bellevue City Schools at different levels. I started in the elementary, and then during their redistricting, I moved up to the high school for 4 years. After I started going through my administrative classes, I ended up over at Clyde, and I've been the assistant principal at Clyde High School for the past 11 years, and have learned a lot through those years, and I'm hoping to be able to take a lot of those experiences and the knowledge that I've learned from over there to kind of help me out over here. I've been part of this community now, I think, I've lived just west of town now, I think for close to 23 years. So I've seen this town and school evolve over those years. But I am very, very excited. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to become part of this team, part of the high school, and kind of keep moving everything in the direction that has been started for me already. Being part of the community, the district, like I said, I'm very excited to become a little giant. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
All right.
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Well, I mean, just my friends here. That's all. But just one real short thing. Graduation was awesome. I think it was pretty poetic that, like, last name, throw the caps, cue the sprinkles.
Cue the rain.
But I think everybody in the stands was like, "Ooh, we welcome the rain," because it was a little toasty up there. I do just want to thank Mr. Dumminger. Mr. Dumminger has really been on the spot as far as all the pictures and things that he's taken for different things that have happened this school year, and especially with our seniors and graduation and the graduation pictures he took. And I think that needed to be mentioned. And go Dominic Brown, state champ.
About that.
Laura?
Yeah, I just have to say, graduation day, Sarah brought it up. I would have to say that, I think out of my whole entire life, that was the day I felt so privileged to do what I did that day. And I don't know if everybody felt like that, but I don't know. I just felt like it was just one of those things where I felt such, I think I felt so much pride in myself to give those, I don't know how to word this. I guess when the kids came up, I felt so much pride. I felt like the pride coming out of them, all their accomplishments. They were so happy. The whole atmosphere was just something that I've never experienced in my whole entire life. And it was the best feeling that I've ever experienced in my whole life. And I guess I felt like I was privileged to be in the middle of it and to experience it and to, I don't know, be a part of it. It was a great feeling. And I'm happy for all the kids that graduated. And I'm just thankful that I could be part of the whole process. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Lori?
Well, congratulations to the Jim and to Ryan. Welcome aboard, and I'm excited for you guys to get in on it. Graduation was great. Always fun. Always nice to see all the kids and to shake their hands and their sweaty palms. They're all sweaty. But yeah, and I had some people, they're like, "We seen you down there and you got to give my daughter her diploma." And I knew it was her because she looked like you. So, but yeah, it's always neat because there's always somebody out there that you know. And sometimes it's a family member that you get to give them to. So, and all the donations and the teachers. And Megan, thank you for your little explanations. Short and sweet. Oh, that's it.
Thank you to the community for donations, for everything that they do throughout the school year at different things, and then for special events like graduation and baccalaureate and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for those. Thank you for the staff that's running the summer food program. I was coming over for a lifting at the high school right at the end of it, so I got to see them hard at work and then having to pack it all up what they had and take it back in, and to put that forward just to feed kids in our community, that says a lot. So like we said earlier, to Jim and Dorian, welcome. Glad you're part of the team. So Jeff and Cajun will be getting a text message from me just to rub it in a little bit. So I'm sure I'll hear it back from them. So knowing those two, so but welcome to Fremont. So and hope everybody have a good summer. It's been a good kickoff so far. So we'll keep the ball rolling and keep it going in a good direction. So with that, I'm going to make a motion that we move into executive session under item B as in boy. Could I have a second, please? Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? The only thing I will say for public to know is no board action will be taken after we come out of executive session. We'll be adjourning immediately after that. So roll call, please.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Nally.
Yes.
Motion's approved. We are in executive session.